Hello, listener. This is Marty V, and I have exciting news. Romance Writers Therapy is now sponsored by Plotter.com. That's Plottr.com. And as you remember from our conversation with Troy Lambert, Plotter is a storyboarding software that makes moving around the pieces of your story in a really color-coded, lovely way, but also very intuitive to use the software. So if you haven't checked out Plotter.com, go do that. Thank you, Plotter, for sponsoring our adorable little podcast, and we're happy to bring you on board.
Right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Hi.
You tripped me right as I was gonna do it.
I did too. I'm so sorry.
Did you feel it that I was getting ready to breathe in and be like, hi? And then you were like, I'll do it.
No, I was just making your back at you. That's all I was doing. I'm not nearly that.
I was making the back at you.
That's hilarious. I don't know. We haven't recorded. You'll be able to tell me which one of us came first. Which one of us is the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, you're right. We're both chickens. Oh,
I don't know. Sometimes I feel unfinished and gooey.
Unfinished. Do you know that little Japanese cartoon character Gudetama? I think that's how you say his name.
No.
He's a raw egg and he's cracked out of his shell. He got a whole movie recently.
Amazing.
He's kind of like Hello Kitty in that he's not really a character in anything particular. He's just a character that they make merchandise out of.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just him. He's a really lazy egg and he just kind of sits around in his own raw eggness looking a little bit miserable. And I've never spiritually identified with Hello Kitty, but I spiritually identify with this cracked open, raw, gooey mess.
That is hilarious. All right. Should we tell them who we are now?
Yeah, okay. Hi, we're Romance Therapy. We're Romance Writers Therapy.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's right.
I fucked it up.
I couldn't tell in my head. New show. You said it, and I'm like, is that right?
We make this joke every single episode. New show.
Oldie but a goodie. Oldie and trustworthy. How about that? It doesn't even have to be good.
Yes.
It's important to give people what they're asking for.
Yeah, and they are constantly asking for that one joke again.
Oh my god, guys, we get it.
We're tired of doing it.
We're tired of doing it.
But you just keep requesting it.
We're Romance Writers Therapy. I'm Marty V, and I'm
Kate Pryor.
Yep, that's Kate Pryor.
We need to
We're never gonna plan it. The things that we need to do, the list is long, and it's just never gonna happen. So it's
I know that some podcasts they do it over Skype is so old, Zoom or whatever.
Yeah,
Hangouts, something where they can actually see each other. And I imagine if we could actually see each other,
confusion out.
Do you point at each other your turn?
After the I don't know. First episode, it was early. Andrew was like, you guys need to do this over a video chat. And I was like, no, we don't. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Just the way it is. I don't even want to. And now this callback is
I don't even know what Marty looks like. We've never met.
We've never met. We haven't though. No.
I don't know.
I know what you look like. I'm not a robot, but let me tell you, I love my Roomba. Listener, what you don't know is this week I got a Roomba, and I'm obsessed. I love that little thing. I want to send it to college. It is my third child.
That's really intense for a Roomba.
It is. I also like to think that it's oh my god.
Yeah, the Roomba.
This place is exhausting. I guarantee it's definitely my god, the cleaning never ends in this place. Every nook and cranny needs to be cleaned up. Oh my gosh.
But Kate, I can walk around barefooted in my house right now.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Look, listener, if you have always lived in the kind of house you can walk around barefoot and not have to scrape the bottom of your feet onto your pant legs, then you and I have not lived in the same kinds of houses. This Roomba is life-changing. Find a way to automate your life. Like, oh my God. So Kate, how's writing going?
Ugh. I
didn't realize I was asking a triggering question.
A little bit. I'm all, like, I told you I have like the thing that's due in August that's like really short, and I think the main challenge is gonna be putting all that story into like 5,000 words.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like, that's not a lot of words, so like the work sounds really challenging.
Well, in a way, I kind of like it. Like, there's a lot less pressure, I think, in a lot of ways for a short story.
This short, like, particularly.
Yes, this is very, very short. And in a way, like, I think it kind of reduces, like, the mental clutter when you're working on a really short story. Like, you can see everything. You can read it.
Oh my gosh.
The whole thing in, like, under an hour.
Mm-hmm.
See, because, like, that's the big problem I'm having with, like, my longer projects. And when I say longer, I still mean, like, novella length. God, I saw on Instagram the New Jersey Romance Writers Association, because I follow them on Instagram still, was like, I don't think they're part of the RWA.
No, and I should follow the Michigan one. I've been thinking about getting involved in the Michigan one.
Every time I like think about it, then I look them up, and then it's like, we're doing non-romance genre things, and I'm like, I'm confused weird. In like a subgenre way or like in a all writers way. Like I'm like, it's always confusing to me. So I'm always like, I'm gonna go do it, and then I don't.
Well, I feel like the Michigan, and I don't want to like talk shade here because I haven't done any looking into it for a while, but I feel like the Michigan one, I don't find very much information readily available. Right? Like, guys, if you're not going to update your website, update something, right? Like, update your Facebook. Like, tell me what's going on. I just haven't been able to find a great source of information there.
That is the problem with, like, small organizations, is that they lack the infrastructure. And that's why so many people clung to RWA while it was, like, kind of dying out, because it had the infrastructure to coordinate all these writing meetings and inviting authors to speak at events and like that kind of thing.
Yeah. When I think also like these people are doing this work are also, full-time writers, and they have like all of the hats to wear there. So the idea of like, spending a couple hours a week on something just to make sure other people have information, I can see that being really challenging. Okay, fine. I will find a way to get information though, because I really don't know. I'd like some more support.
Yeah. No, and like there's a couple of people I know who aren't romance writers themselves, I believe. Aren't writers at all. Or I don't want to say at all, because like that's not their full-time occupation, and they're not trying to make it their full-time occupation. In that sense. If they do any recreational writing, I have no idea. But they still managed to be like were two different people, Jesus, really involved in the romance community in such ways that I would like is kind of like stewardship the word I want. I feel like I can't come up with any of the words I want lately, which is the most
great for writing. Yeah,
great for writing, great for talking,
great for
literally
communicating
anything
in every way. Yeah,
because like one person I met in real life at my sister's graduation party, I think.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, and
I remember
like,
it being
it was
her graduation
weird,
party.
Meet cute, and I was like so excited to like make a friend in a place I never thought I would make a friend.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though.
She told me a bunch about like how she would MC at like romance conventions.
Oh, really? I didn't know she did that.
Yeah, and I had a moment like, that's a thing? That's awesome. But also like, how do you fall into that role? But then I was also talking to Meg, the editor. I think her name is on most Instagram, TikTok kind of places. Okay. Every time a monster romance novel is like slated to come out and she finds out about it, she puts them in this massive calendar.
Funny story about the woman you met at your sister's open house. She's the reason why we started our podcast.
Oh yeah, she is. Like,
Yeah.
don't know if she does
In a
that.
roundabout way. Does she know that?
I don't think she does.
Yeah, in a little roundabout way. She suggested that we get involved in Clubhouse.
She did.
And, well, she suggested that Kate do that. And then we tried for like 3 or 4 weeks. And Kate was making these little bite-sized portions of our conversation for us to put on social media so we could draw people to our Clubhouse chats. And then I was thinking silently, without expressing myself to her, we should just be doing a podcast. And then Kate was like, can we just do a podcast? It would be so much easier than having to find like a minute of our conversation to share someplace. And so that's why we started doing this.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. That's our origin story. But what were you telling me about this Meg the Editor lady?
Well, yeah. So she basically creates this huge calendar, and she reminds people of like all the release dates as they're coming out. And
That's
she,
amazing.
as far as I'm aware, largely organizes this by herself. Like, I think some people do let her know that they're going to have a release, but I think a lot of releases she just finds out on her own, and then she just puts them in the calendar. And
yeah, you can submit your books.
yeah, I think so. But I just think she's such a backbone of like the monster romance community, because like
that is so great.
she, like, I don't know that a lot of people would know about my book if it wasn't for her, just that she picks these things up and she announces them and she spreads them further than they already reach, you know?
I love that. I would love to find a resource like that for
Contemporary romance.
Yeah. But I feel like, for one thing, monster romance is such a hot niche.
It's also, I think, a lot smaller of a genre.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a thought.
Where did it go?
I don't know. Maybe I painted it into my nails. Oh, okay. But you haven't told me how writing's going.
Oh, yes, I did.
Or have you explained that totally?
Swiftly sidestep that.
Not today, Kate. Not me. Dog with a bone over here.
I'm between 2 projects, and well, not between 2 projects. I have a project I am supposed to be working on. I put a pin in the other project I was working on so that I could work on the new thing because its deadline is closer. And then now I keep cheating on the new thing with my old project.
Is it working? To think about it as like
nothing works.
No. Nothing works.
I don't have a single good coping mechanism for my ADHD.
So right now I need to have my first draft to the developmental editor by the 25th of this month.
Okay. Which title is this?
This is Hazel and Elijah Find Out.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
First one was They Fuck Around. This one's They Find Out.
I changed it to They Don't Get Caught.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, but then like Find Out still worked really well for this one. So I had my own little inside joke with just us. And so I kept it. But I have to get it to the developmental editor. And right now, God, I swear, I don't know if my scenes just need to be this long or if I am just writing more into the story than is necessary.
Oof.
Right? Like, I feel like I get stuck in these like scenes that are very plot heavy. And then it takes like 4 scenes, like 4 chapters to get through these plot heavy spots. Right?
Yeah.
And so right now I'm at like, it's just about to be the breakup. Right? So I'm on that 4th act, but like, my God, I just need to like get it done so I can do the couple of edits that I have written down, which are going to take time on their own, and I can move on to its sequel. And the beginning of every book is so much easier to write than the ending. So I'm going to get moving on to the sequel, and then I'll have to pause that at some point to do the edits. And I'll go back to the sequel while it's off with editors. And like the sequel is just kind of going to have to like float in the middle of, you know, the rest of the schedule until it's time for that thing to go off to its schedule. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
To its own scheduled events.
Okay.
Which I haven't actually scheduled those, so I probably should, just to make sure the people I want to work with are available. So that's what's going on with me. I started a writing, like a write-a-thon, Summer Lovin' Write-a-thon thing.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, I'm really happy I joined, because like there's a lot of people that are like active every single day. And so I'm, getting an opportunity to talk to new writers and meet people. And also like, I mean, having an active like sprinting channel is so helpful. And so like, as even when I'm not writing, I'm seeing other people writing and it makes me want to go write,
Yeah, no, I fully feel that.
Yeah. Writing is going well. I feel very much like my words are uninspired, but like, yeah, it's okay. I am very much like, it's gonna come in the editing. Like right now, if I'm not loving the words I'm choosing, I still find creative moments in the editing. There's like that whole thing of like create like the artist, edit like the business person or something. I don't remember it. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but it does sound like a Facebook-ism.
Yeah, exactly. But like editing is still very much a part of like my creation process.
Okay.
And so I am not concerned. What's nice is I know that now. So like when I was writing Just Fake Married, I got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just writing the most bland prose ever. And then it came time to edit it and I started to like just have more clarity to write life into it. Yeah, I really liked it. Worked out really well. So that's where I'm at.
That's good. I'm sorry, I'm like
yeah.
dying over here.
So we had talked a bit about like having a conversation about how like you can do things on the back end, like in the editing process. Do we want to kind of chat about a bit?
You're gonna need to define things.
Like I was saying that the prose can come in prettier in the editing process if you're not happy with where they're at now.
Okay.
Like you can find more opportunities for metaphor when it's already written in front of you, right?
Yeah?
I do.
You do. Okay.
Like it's the story's already written in front of me because a lot of times as I'm writing the first draft, I kind of get stuck on like the same metaphor.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? Like I'm comparing everything to the same yeah, right? And it makes sense because like the story is kind of notched into your brain in a certain way as you're writing it. And it's like when you find a word in conversation that you just really like and you just keep on using that word over and over, right? And it's not intentional. It's just for whatever reason, it's embodying everything you needed to embody. In the editing process, you can take a bit of a different approach because that word's not stuck in your head anymore.
I guess. I don't feel like I need to get attached to a word. Or like it's stuck in my head and I need to use it repeatedly. I usually, if I get to say it just the once, I'm good.
Well, that wasn't a great example because like, you know how like you just have times, like I was using it as an example. I was using conversation as a metaphor for writing.
Okay.
Right? So like, you know how like you'll kind of have certain words that for whatever reason, for a couple months, you just keep on repeating that word or phrase. Right?
Okay.
Like maybe everyone else is too, or for whatever reason, like this is just like the conversation you're having. And so you just keep on going back to it. And I feel like a lot of times while you're writing your first draft, you'll have words or metaphors that just kind of just keep on coming back because you just used them. Like they were just there. And so they're really fresh in your mind. Does that make sense? And so in the editing process, I find that I'm able to edit some of those out, but also look at the scene in a different way and create new metaphors.
Okay. I feel like you've explained it really well, but it's still something that I don't quite relate to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do think that maybe one of our listeners could probably relate to it though. Because, you know, the vast swath of human experience out there and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we're mostly human.
I was kind of keyed into... See, and the thing is, I feel like a much better listener when I'm editing the podcast. And I feel like I always understand what you're saying so much better because I get to replay it like 8 times.
What's really funny is sometimes when we're having our conversations, you'll take it in a different direction. I'm like, oh, okay, that was an interesting direction to take it. And then when I'm re-listening to our podcast, I will be like, oh, of course you took it in that direction. That was more clearly what I was stating. Like sort of thing. Like I'll know my intention and what I meant to say, but like what I actually said did not convey that.
It happens so often when I'm editing it that I'll be like, I'll hear a point you're making and I'll be like, oh man, that makes me think of this other thing. And then, like, a minute later, like, I say in response to the thing you're saying, well, let me bring up this other thing. I'm like, oh, God damn it, Kate. Why are you doing this?
That is so funny. I love that.
So, okay. So that model right there when I am editing, I don't know like how if I'm gonna properly describe this because I don't know what influences or what makes this happen in me. This is just the way I tick. I don't know why. And when I say tick, I mean like in like a mechanical sense. I don't mean it in like the people who have behavioral tics kind of way.
Okay.
When I go back to a chapter that I haven't read in a while and I'm doing a little edit on it, because I edit as I go. I don't, put it off to the end, even though everyone says always put it off to the end. I just, like if I'm rereading it and I see something that I want to change, I'm going to change it now because I'm not going to remember that I wanted to later. But it happens to me so often that I'll start to edit something, or I'll be reading these paragraphs and I'll be like, oh, I need I need to write a sentence about how she's feeling X, Y, and Z. And then I will use like specific words, be like, it specifically needs these words that it evokes. And then like, I'll insert that like a sentence or a paragraph, and then I'll keep reading, and then I'll have to go back and delete what I just wrote because I'll find it like 2 paragraphs down, just slightly rephrased.
Yeah.
Fucks me up.
Yes, I know that feeling. I don't have it very often. I have to be kind of writing in a bit of a daze for me to have that like happen. But I do know that feeling because like your brain is still working on the path that you've created, but like it sees different boulders as you're like rereading it, right? And then you're like, oh, but the boulder's right there.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah. I just had to walk further down the path.
Yeah, literally. And it's like, oh, I just jumped I did it a little too soon. If I just waited, I would have, spared myself the effort.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about like editing as you go, which I do, but I don't edit everything as I go.
How do you mean?
I won't know what's going to happen in the 4th act or 3rd act until I get there.
Yeah.
And then I start writing it and I'm like, this is going to be a terrible example, but like I start writing it and then I'm like, oh, so because like her mom's cat is going to be such a strong plot point, I need to mention her mom's cat 2 or 3 times previous to this, right? Mm-hmm. Just so the cat is present in the book and I can use it as like a plot point. So I'll like have
you'll have a
folder,
Chekhov's guns in the beginning.
Exactly. So I'll have like my folder that's just labeled edits, and so I write in there add mom's cat, and so I know that when I get done with this draft, I need to go through everything in the edits and just find little moments to like pepper them in. And then I also have my like squiggly brackets that I'll have like, color of her hair, and I'll double check like what color hair I gave this character, or describe this room, and I'll go back and
just
put a couple sentences of descriptors. Yeah. Things that like would slow me down in writing.
Just so listener knows what you're talking about. If the
scene is yeah, exactly.
When you're writing, you stop instead of putting like the description, instead of like agonizing over it, you put in both squiggly brackets in that space, and then when you come back to it, you just Control F the squiggly brackets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can search the squiggly brackets, but like if I'm working a scene and it's going really well, or I'm excited to get to the dialogue and I don't want to get bogged down on, describing the room or, whatever things like would keep my brain from functioning in the direction it wants to, I will just tell myself to write that later. I also find that doing that makes the writing it later a lot easier because I'm less attached to like I already know what they're going to interact with in the scene. And so I know what's more important to include and what not to include. And then I will also have just a bit more of a meh, fuck it sort of attitude about it. Like I'm not quite so like consumed with this scene.
Fuck it.
So I can just write it down.
To writing as like,
oh my gosh,
every part of the process.
And if I could remember meh, fuck it more often, like that would be lovely.
I need like one of those live, laugh, love signs, like the fucking style of F4 that's always like
meh, fuck it.
Yeah, it just says meh, fuck it. Oh my god, I have a post-it note on my wall. It's been there for a few weeks. It says, what if it was actually easy? And I felt so stupid putting it there to remind myself, like, to get started on tasks that I thought were difficult.
I kind of love that.
Because it sounds so fucking like personal affirmation style.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against it. I do not have the capability.
It doesn't, like, personal affirmations do not sound like something you would do.
Nope, I cannot. I've tried so hard to, like, be a personal affirmation kind of person. But if I see, like, those sticky notes on the mirror that say, you're beautiful, remind yourself that you're worth it. And I'm like, they mean nothing to me. They feel so empty to me. And God, I wish I could be that kind of person, but I don't have that energy.
My argument is that it feels empty until, like, you're almost desensitized to the messaging. Does that make sense? Because I also have, like, the same response to, like, having sticky notes up with, like, affirmations. I also have the same, like, but is it real sort of, like, reaction, right?
Like, that's not for me, you know?
Right?
Like,
but at the same rate, like, I also know that, like, if I say the same thing over and over, it becomes, like...
meaningless.
It becomes meaningless, which therefore, like, it's empty and I can fill it with whatever I want. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And so I think that is, like, the step in the affirmations that, like, you just have to keep on doing it until you're like, oh, that one felt like something.
Yeah, I guess.
Why do you want to be an affirmations person?
I would love to have any kind of coping mechanism that works.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know. I would dearly love to be, like, a real person. You know? I feel very much like an overgrown child or a weird little marionette doll that just kind of is propped up by the window watching a bunch of real people go by.
I think that's so much more of a relatable feeling than, like, we see, like, expressed. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, I'll, like, meet other people and I'm like, oh, that's how you do this, right? And then, like, or I'll have, like, a moment where I'm, like, doing something, like cleaning my house in a certain way. I'm like, oh, this is how you do this task, right? And it's like, I am 36. Like, how have I not learned how to do this very simple task in a way that functions in my life? Like, right now, I have realized, like, I can have more than one thing of something. So, like, I have...
Yeah, in, like, what way?
Well, I have my deodorant in the medicine cabinet, and I have my deodorant in my gym bag.
Okay.
And I don't have to try to remember...
You have one in each place.
And I don't have to try to remember to grab the one and keep on moving it back and forth. Yeah. So, like...
That is extremely helpful. I do love that.
I love that. You can have more than one thing of something. And, like, this is not a life hack. This is just something other people have done always. You know what I mean? Like...
Well, I think, like, there's a lot of, like, mindsets that we inherit from our parents. Like, I don't know too much about the way that your parents grew up, but that's definitely the kind of thing that my mom still does, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And then, like, if you have more than one thing, aren't you wasting money? Right?
Yeah.
Like, you spent $5 on both of those. Sinner.
Like, why do you need two? And it's like, I need one in every place that I could possibly remember to use it.
Well, and then, like, I bought this box for my desk because it was really messy. And I wanted to remember to have my nail polish and stuff like that while we were doing our chats. And I was like, oh, I just need to buy something pretty to put on my desk so I can have those things handy to me. And it makes me so happy to look at. But I never would have bought it because it was $15.
My God, I feel that so deeply.
Right?
I'm, like, constant, like, okay, so I have my own space. I'm sorry, listener, that this isn't a very writing-focused podcast. Tonight, we just said, what if we shoot the shit until we talk about writing?
And I don't know. I think there is something to find here about writing of, like Kate said, like, what if it was easy? Right?
Yeah, no, okay. Like, I feel like we very much do grow up with this idea of things have to be difficult or things have to feel like a punishment.
Yeah.
And, like, because I was also watching the Duggars documentary thing, Shiny Happy People, that this idea, like, they're touching on some things that, like, I definitely remember I did not go through that kind of trauma that they're talking about in the documentary. But there's a lot of, like, vibes. I hate that word. It's reminiscent. Like, you can really pick up a lot of the things that like are inherent in a lot of our systems today.
Mm-hmm.
Like our high schools, our really just our whole school system. Like, things that these elements of it has to be difficult. You can't be accommodated. We can't make this easy for you. You have to do the hard things.
Well, even like I remember being young, like second or third grade, and my teacher being like, we're going to talk about this subject. I know. Right? And it's like, why are you teaching me to dread this? Like, why aren't we invigorating this conversation? And like with my kids, I want them to have a better relationship with cleaning and keeping things up, and also just being more motivated to be like a constructive member of like a household. Right?
Yeah.
And so like, I remember having so much stress connected to like cleaning, I couldn't get myself to do it. And so it was like a mad dash as my parents were pulling up the driveway to like get the one task done that they asked me to. Right?
Yeah.
And so like now, like I just have a very different approach with my kids where like I told you to do something, she didn't get it done. And so today, this morning, I was like, hey, you didn't get this done. There is no television until you get it done. And she just came home and got it done. It wasn't like there was no like punishment around it, because that's not the messaging I want to give her about accomplishing a task. Right? And I know other people have different opinions on it. But like, this is definitely
I get you. But like, it feels very close to the moment. That's not a phrase. That's not a thing people say.
I'm trying to understand what
Topical?
It would mean. Okay. Yeah.
In like that 20 minutes ago, we were talking about something like this. When I moved out,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before. I feel like I definitely have, because I feel like I've said this to every goddamn person, because it was such a revelation to me that there are certain ways that I need to. Oh my god, there's a new stray cat outside.
Oh no.
I've seen this one before. Oh, he's so pretty.
Oh,
He's a lanky baby. He's a teen cat. Like, you can tell what age a cat is by their general like body shape.
Absolutely.
And he looks like a little bit,
like his feet are too big for him.
Younger. Yeah, like the head's not the right size, but like, and like there's a very stretched out look. I'm sorry, you
were on a track and then you were off the track. I can't wait for you to hear that.
Oh my god,
I cannot wait. It is. I don't know if this is the dullest shit we've ever done. It was funny for a little bit there. I was like, hey, we're pulling this together. Look at us like find a path. And then we went off the path. And I'm like, I don't know if we're pulling this together anymore. Okay. But you were talking about when you moved out.
Cleaning. I like a space to be clean. I do not love cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at college, I had a very hard time keeping my space clean.
Yeah.
But upon moving into an apartment where I got to buy all my furniture and like decide where everything went, like obviously Austin had a bit of input, but like I got to design everything around this idea that I don't want clutter on the floor because that makes it hard for me to vacuum.
Yeah.
If I have to pick things up off the floor, then I'm not going to vacuum. I'm going to spend my energy picking things up on the floor and then I'm going to sit down and be tired, you know, like that kind of a thing.
100% get yourself a Roomba.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, well, so we have one of those, it hangs on the wall and it charges vacuums. It's wireless, but it has like a very small compartment. Love it. I love it so much. It's so good.
Amazing.
I want like 5 more.
Well, and we have a Dyson that does that. But still, like, you know, with little kids and toys and like, my God, we have a 1,500 square foot house, which I know in some areas of the world, that's a good size house. In this area of the world, it is not. And we have 3 floors, like including the basement, 2 cats, a dog, 2 kids, and 2 adults, right? Like, there is just too much coming and going, and like the floors are a mess. And if I have to pick up the floors, I'm not going to get a chance to mop and sweep and vacuum. So like, yeah, automating that task, amazing. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, guys, I'm sorry. I am a walking billboard for Roomba right now. It's
no.
the best thing that's ever happened.
I think it's good to like talk about, to really realize where you're. Okay, I don't want to bring work into podcast, but so something that they talk about at my day job is the frictionless checkout experience. I hate it. I hate it so much.
But I see the point of it, though. Like, if there is a moment where, like, it's challenging for the person to do this, they're just going to decide to get it somewhere else.
And, like, I fully understand when they're talking about, like, if you make someone have to have a login to your website just so they can buy your product, you're going to lose this percentage of people who are going to just kind of go, no, I couldn't tell you the number of times I've been about to buy a product and then been like, no, I'm not putting my email address into another goddamn thing. You know?
I have also done that.
Like, it's just, there's like just so many pages you can make me click through before you lose me.
Absolutely.
And not in like an ADHD way, just you've given me enough time to consider that maybe I don't actually want the thing that I'm about to impulse buy.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
We were talking about automating.
Frictionless experience. Okay, well, maybe we could do like 10 minutes talking about how to make your writing experience frictionless, and I will just cut the episode down to that.
I love that, but I also want to talk about, we did stumble upon a subject now. I also want to talk about how to keep your reader engaged so that they...
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, because if you are giving them enough reasons to stumble over your plot or your writing, or this character's not behaving the way they anticipated, if you give them enough reasons, they're going to put the book down and move on to something else. And there are millions of other books, and you want them to continue through with you.
I think there's a number of ways you can apply the frictionless kind of, I don't want to call it a philosophy or a mindset, but like...
Plan?
I think that's even too big. Just that remember to make things frictionless if you want to get a result. Make things easier for people.
Question. I'm so sorry, Kate. I am like...
No, you're good.
I just got distracted because I put a grocery order in and they keep on calling me because I was supposed to pick it up this morning and I didn't. But like, we all know it'll just be there tomorrow morning. My God, they are calling me again. I cannot answer it right now. Frictionless. Okay. But it's like that whole thing of like question the premise. Like, why are you having this response? And like, what can you change about the situation to actually be able to accomplish the thing you're trying to accomplish? Right?
I'm gonna be real. I'm having a hard time seeing the connection between the thought you had and what we were talking about. Can you keep going?
Yes, 100%.
And explain how they're connected.
Okay, so like the whole concept of question the premise, right? So like what we were talking about, and this is all from Becca Syme, guys. So quick cast. She's amazing. She gorgeous. The other day we were talking about how you were struggling to wake up early to start writing because it meant like putting on these really like challenging socks, right?
Yes.
And then I was like, well, could you prop your like laptop up into a standing desk instead? Because yes, the idea of waking up to put these socks on sounds like a fucking nightmare, right? So it's like, how can you make this a seamless experience? Like, how can you cut out the challenge?
Or reserve the challenge for a later moment when you have more theoretical endurance to go through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's kind of what the thinking is behind when people say leave editing for the end, like don't edit now, because you can end up spending a lot of time and energy on something that isn't really critical right now.
Or isn't going to stay, right? Because you kind of ran into that a bit too, where you wrote your story, realized you wanted to change the plot point, and then in like changing the story again, you had to remove that plot point, right?
Yeah.
So like
that
the concept,
I think, is more akin to like when you say that you do your discovery writing.
Yeah.
Like you write a chapter and then you get to the next chapter and you decide you gotta delete a chapter.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really sorry if I made you feel called out, but like,
No,
that was
good.
definitely not my intention.
I think that's exactly what I've been doing with my gargoyle book. I add in a thing and then I take it out. That's why it is taking this long.
Well, but like also, I mean, we all have our processes, right? So you know there's something that's not working. And so you're trying different things to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like me having to discovery write and just having to accept that like not everything I write is going to make it into any book ever. Like you just kind of have to follow the thought through. Okay, I think we have this messaging from society that like our time has to be productive, but like this is an art form, and so it can't always follow a straight line. Like it not all time is going to be productive in the sense of like this is the finished product, but in taking this time and learning more about it, it's productive in a more quiet way, and we struggle with that.
I feel like we do need to talk a little bit more about writing and not about Roombas. You know, like just to balance out the Roomba content, the cleaning content, and frictionless experiences. We were talking about.
Yes, that. Please talk about frictionless experience.
Well, it's literally like if you can identify something that snags on you in like your day-to-day life or your writing, or I think maybe you need to really look at where you snag when you're buying someone else's book and ask yourself, am I doing this? Something that I'm still getting used to, I'm going to be real, is that when you market your book and when you do the marketing, you need to tell people where, like, you need to give them the buy link.
Yeah.
The link. Yeah. And I think I feel the anxiety whenever I do that, whenever I like post a cute little graphic and like, here's the book, here's the tropes. Oh my God, aren't you excited about it? And then it's like, now you have to post the buy link so people who are excited about your book can buy your book. But like, there's this little anxiety like, oh, I don't want to like be really pushy about it or anything. I don't want to be like leaning into the capitalism. Like whatever your hang up is, it's like you do need to get over that so that you can provide people a frictionless experience.
I've also heard of people being like, hey, don't put that in the post because they already know it's in your link tree. Like, just make sure the link is in your bio sort of thing. But don't even tell them the link is in your bio. They already know. And like...
No, disagree.
Yeah,
Hard disagree.
Right? I disagree too.
Because too many people don't put their fucking link in their bio.
That's true.
Or put their link in like some... I cannot tell you, like... All right, I'm going to let you know I have a problem with impulse buying. I do like to buy myself a little treat pretty much all the fucking time.
Okay. Pretty much all the fucking time.
And then I say to myself, I got a day job. I can afford it. Girl, no, you cannot. Whatever. Well, no, I can't.
I was going to say, like, you can.
Like, I can. I'm not in, like, any credit card debt. I'm not in any kind of, like...
Yeah.
I should not be so frivolous.
Okay, so I mean, not to like make this a finance conversation, but like I'm a big fan of like what is the point of all this working in life if we aren't enjoying ourselves, right?
No, absolutely. No, I get you.
So if you're saving for retirement, you've got like a safety like little net set up for yourself. You do your thing, chicken wing. Like you have fun. You're doing great. As life changes and, circumstance changes and you need to put your money in a different place, you'll be able to do that too. Enjoy your time. Just make sure you're saving like for a safety net. So if something breaks, you're good. And make sure you're saving for a long term, like for your retirement. Yeah. Enjoy your impulse buys, friend. Do it. Live your best life.
Encourage me.
I'm encouraging you to save too. So
yeah, okay. Encourage harder on the saving.
Okay.
I need to like go harder on my saving for a little bit. I need to pull back from my hedonistic expenses.
I can't tell you how many times Andrew and I have like been like, okay, we have this big purchase coming. We have to save everything, and we do, right? And then we're like, oh my God, how did we accumulate so much money so fast? Like, how much were we spending? But we've always, saved a safety net. We've always saved for retirement. And so, yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have more fun with money than other times. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I find it very hard to get out of the vacation mindset, of like, oh, I'm in a cute little town. Let me buy myself a cute little tchotchke.
Yeah.
And then like after vacation, I still do that. And it's like, no, the special time is over.
Should we talk about writing or should we just call it quits for the night?
We should talk about writing.
Okay, what do we want to say?
Oh my God. Where was I going with this?
Seamless transaction, telling them, like giving them the link in your post.
Yeah, no, okay. So I'm constantly like, ooh, a small independent artist. I would love to buy your bullshit. Mm-hmm. Because usually it's like a cute, the things I have. I get a lot of like the little glass sunlight catcher things and the little, like that kind of shit thing.
Yeah.
And then like I get like I'm clicking for where is your shop, and the things that are probably gonna stop me or is I can't figure out how to get to the buy part, or I get to the buy part and it's like, actually that's $200. No.
Yes.
Yeah. But like if I have made it to like that far, if it's like $20, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay. I think my tripping point is usually like if it's $40, I'll like sit there for a minute like, how bad do I want it?
I think that's a good, yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're back to talking about money.
We're back to talking about money, but I think it is, okay, I think writing is important. The business side of writing, if you intend to be making money at this thing, you don't have to. Like I do want that to be clear. Yes. You don't have to make money. You don't have to publish your stories. You can write for you. Also, you can write for you and a bunch of friends.
One of my friends recently was talking about how she wrote and published this erotic romance. Her mom, who is an insane hobbyist, right? Like spends hundreds of dollars weekly on her hobbies, right?
Yeah.
And her mom was like, have you made any money yet? And she's like, or have you earned back what you invested yet? And she's like, hey, Mom, have you earned back on your sewing investments? Like, the reality is I could earn this money back, but like, I get to have a hobby. People spend money on hobbies. This one's just different because it can be a business, right? Like, and not to say that like, if you're not making money, you're a hobbyist, but like, it's okay to spend money on the things you love.
Yeah, no, I'm all for not monetizing your hobbies, I think that is a quick way to
make
suck
something
all the joy out.
Not a hobby anymore. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like I think it's really good to have things that there is no pressure on, to do the thing you love, that should be the place you should have things that you come back to. But okay, we were getting away from the point I was gonna make.
Okay.
If you, like so many, intend to make money off your book, I think you should really understand the ways that it is a business and what business looks like and how business operates.
Absolutely.
There's some people I see regularly and I talk to regularly and I don't love who talk to me about their writing, and I never want to talk to them about their writing because I feel like the conversation always goes in a circle.
Yeah.
And it kind of becomes like listening and trying not to volunteer advice because I know the advice is going to get ignored,
Yeah.
Because it has been, because it involves this person changing their mindset in such a drastic way that like I don't feel like equipped to do.
Well, then also like I don't want to put energy into a dead end road.
Not putting energy into people who fucking annoy you on a daily basis, that kind of thing. Or however often. Like you don't have to do emotional labor for every person, especially if you don't care for them.
Yes.
That sounds like so callous. I don't want to like, that feels like a broad brushstroke I just painted.
Well, I think everyone has those people in their lives, right? Like,
yeah.
Because, I mean, you could give your energy to every single person you meet, but like, for one thing, not everyone is going to return that energy and like
going to appreciate it.
Going to like, you need to be able to put your energy where it belongs.
Yeah. But so we would run into this like conversational dead end every time. This conversation of, oh, I put my book up on Amazon, but it's not getting any buyers or like no one's reviewing my book. And I'm like, well, did you send out to ARC readers? And they're like, oh, I would never do that. I'm not giving books away for free when I'm trying to earn money. I'm like, okay, well.
That is literally the foundation of like the business model for indie writing and for books in general.
So it's like
traditional publishing gives so many free books out just so people will talk about the book.
The conversation would always go like, I would ask, did you do this basic piece of business advice? Mm-hmm. And then it would be like, no, that seems counterintuitive. And it'd be like, okay. Because like, I'm not going to argue to make a person listen.
What always,
does that make sense?
Absolutely. What always drives me nuts is like when people are complaining about a problem and then they dismiss.
And then they like shoot down everything.
Every solution.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, but if you keep on doing the same thing you're doing, you're going to keep on getting the same exact result. So like, what is the point of this?
Yeah. And like this person who, see, I think I dislike them so much because they remind me so much of the person I used to be in that kind of a Jungian psychology kind of bullshit.
Yeah, but then you became an adult and had life experiences and changed the way you saw things, right?
The thing is, she's so much older than me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And so it's like, it makes me like double mad.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you over this? But like, she'll get into this like, oh, I don't want to sell out like my artistic soul kind of thing. And I'm like, but you're trying to sell your book for money. I think you need to like listener, if there's anything you take away from this scattered rant, it is that you need to be consistent with like what you want and realize like what it takes to get to what you want.
Absolutely. Because if you just want to publish your book so that like anyone who stumbles across it could choose to read it, then that's something you can do. But if you want to create a business, that does take a different path and tools. And it's a very rare person that doesn't have, it's such a rare person I don't even want to mention, right? That would accidentally find incredible success. Exactly. But the thing is like, we are so programmed to see the overnight success, right? We are so programmed, like, so-and-so published this book and became a worldwide sensation. And so that's the messaging that we receive so much more than so-and-so spent 40 years writing an incredible backlist. And then this one book took off. And because of this incredible backlist, everyone was there to buy more of their books, right? Like Colleen Hoover is a great example. She had quote unquote overnight success. Woman's been writing and publishing for like 20 years or 10 years now, right?
Yeah, like whether or not you like her books
doesn't
like
not the part of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like the reality is
no, it's about the business model.
Exactly. And like because she had this very strong backlist, people started talking about this one book, went crazy, flew through her backlist. Like she is not an overnight success. She has done the business portion of the job, and that is what is actually more feasible than, you know, writing fanfic and then filing off the VIN and having that be an overnight.
That is a whole other thing, like
writing
fanfic and then trying to file off the serial numbers.
But then we have E.L. James who did it to incredible success.
We have Allie Hazelwood who did it.
Yeah, that was fanfic.
That was Raylo fanfic. It's famously Raylo fanfic.
Who's Raylo?
Rey and Kylo Ren from Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I only watched the first newest.
That's okay. I don't think you're missing anything. I'm gonna be real. If you weren't that deeply into Star Wars that you already would have wanted to see it, then I don't think you're missing anything grand.
My friend did say that the Ryan, what's his last name?
Rian Johnson?
Yes. That he did the second one, right? In that trilogy. And she's like, she suggested watching that because it is like he was clearly setting something very special up. And so she suggested watching that one. But
I'm gonna be real. I've seen it. I think it needed a better setup prior to it because I feel like they really didn't give you enough. And then again, I feel like the problem with a lot of like, not the problem, but like just a thing you see in a lot of like mainstream media is that, in the non-romance mainstream media, is that they give like a hint of romance and bam, they're kissing. It's like,
yes,
you know,
oh my god,
it's like,
yes,
we didn't really go through the actual
there's no
falling in lovingness of this.
Yeah, or like there's zero chemistry between these two characters, but you want me to code it for romance because in a scene they're gonna be making out, right? Like, it's that whole conversation we already had of like them just assuming we're gonna be on the page they want us to, instead of like actually putting us on the page. Does that make sense? Am I using words that make sense? Like when they just
No, I absolutely get it.
Cool. I'm like having anxiety that I'm not expressing myself well.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I like instigated that at any point when I wasn't getting what you were saying earlier.
No, you're totally fine. Kate, do you think...
Yes.
I know I've tried to end this conversation like 3 times now.
Like, so many times.
I'm so sorry.
And I keep going, no.
No, we have to talk
We're
more.
We're going to keep talking. You're going to stay here with me.
Do you think we have like put together 45 minutes of conversation you can edit into a podcast?
Oh, probably.
Okay. Then do you want to give a piece of writing advice?
Okay.
Are you okay with that? Are you ready for that, Kate?
I have to think of one. I'm mad at myself for starting this.
You wanted something to end the episode. You wanted it so bad.
Yeah. So badly. Like, suggested it one time badly.
I was like, okay, we can do that. And then we did it so much that now it's my pattern. Okay, so I will give one.
You go first.
I am going to suggest that you have like a piece of writing, like a Post-it note or a sign that helps you like delete some of the anxiety around writing, around getting the task done, right? So like Kate has her "What if it was easy" sign. I have mine. You have permission to suck, and it helps me.
Aww.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that doesn't sound like it would be a great piece of advice, but it really is. Sometimes I'm feeling stressed and I just look at that sign and I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't have to do anything spectacular here. I can just write the words. And it really helps because the spectacularness can come in later. It can come in a different scene. It can come in at editing. Like, the book is going to be spectacular. I just have to get through the scene to get to it. Like, yeah, you have permission to suck. You don't have to be perfect.
I like that.
I do too. Do you want to give a piece of writing advice, or you just want to say like what Marty said?
I'm kind of like hovering between two kind of things that have been on my mind lately. I don't think I have a whole lot.
You should write one of them down so that you can say it next week and actually be prepared. No, I won't.
I will forget where I put it.
You have Post-its
by next week. Yeah.
Yeah. Still not gonna do it. Get out of here, sucker.
Yeah. I'm already saying right now, I'm not gonna remember it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, so tell me your writing advice.
Just like I have writing people who I despise. That's a terrible way to phrase it. Other writing people that I know that I do not particularly care for. Mm-hmm. I have writing people that I do care for intensely. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with one of them, and we kind of like, we have very similar temperaments, I think. So we hit the same problems a lot of the time.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And so one of the things they were talking about was like the pressure to get things like actually finishing things. And at the time, I felt like it really related to the conversation you and I were having on short stories, and like the revelation that writing something small and like the need to like make the first thing that you make your best, mm-hmm. brightest idea, mm-hmm. you know, and getting over that like internal fear that if the first thing I make isn't great, then nothing I make will be great.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to that whole like overnight sensation.
And this is like a whole thought that I wish I could hammer into this person's head. Mm-hmm. You know, like if I could like physically just shove it in there.
Yeah, I get that.
But like, I would love to challenge the listener. If you are a person who struggles to finish anything or feel like finish any long project really, and you relate to those moments, to take a 5,000 word limit and write a story within those like confines, you know, and just to have something finished, you know, those kinds of things I think are so, like, I cannot overstate how helpful it is to have something finished like that.
There's like a trust that you build in finishing things.
I think people also look at this something that short and they go, I'm not going to publish that. What will I ever use it for? But like, it could go in an anthology piece. You can use it as a newsletter builder. You could, or like a reader magnet.
Or just like give it away to your newsletter list. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, give it to a friend. Like,
give it to a friend.
Yeah. Like, don't worry about whether or not it's something that you can publish, which you can publish a 5,000 word piece.
Yes.
But don't worry about whether or not it's something you're going to publish. Instead, you can concern yourself with the fact that, like, this isn't about publishing. This is about practice, right? Like, it's about establishing that I know I can finish this. I can write a beginning, middle, and end. And in doing that and continuing the process of writing a beginning, middle, and end, you continue to prove to yourself over and over, I can trust myself to finish this. Because you get into those bigger pieces of work and you're like, I'm in the weeds, but you've already built the trust that you can finish this.
Yeah, and I think when you have a couple things under your belt, you really do get through that anxiety of, like, you leave that anxiety behind of what if it's not good enough, you know?
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, like, I do think that anxiety is still there, but it's not as momentous.
I'm so sorry, Kate. My grocery store is being very insistent.
Okay, on that, we will leave you, listener.
Listener, I am sorry. You'll listen to another episode.
Hear what your grocery order is.
I will let you know. It's just milk. All right. Love you, listener.
Love
Bye,
you.
Kate.
Why are you buying just milk?
I'm not. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.